It is about, well, it is exactly 10:30, and I have just checked my email, which I shouldn't have been doing because I should be working, and the pattern is here. So now I have to somehow not get too distracted and finish editing this video so I can go down and cast on when it's done. I mean, technically this video isn't due till tomorrow, so I could be naughty, but we're not going to do that. I'm going to be good. I want to get this video done so that I've got the full 3-day weekend clear to knit away to my heart's content. See you in a bit. It's going well so far. I finished work on time, woohoo! And I came down to cast on, and my kitchen was flooded. I'd left some washing in the washing machine while I went upstairs to work, and the kitchen sink was blocked again. Yeah, and the kitchen sink was blocked again, so it's flooded. So much fun. So I had that to deal with before I cast on. But everything's a mess. Absolute mess. But it's fixed. The kitchen sink is fixed. It is all drying. I have cast on. So yeah. Just want to chill now. I'm very tempted to go on Deliveroo and see if anybody will bring me a cake. Oh dear. That required quite a bit of concentration. I'm getting into that sort of familiar routine with the Stephen West mystery knit along patterns where you have moments where you're intense concentrating and it's literally taking all your mental power, and then you get to a part of the row where you're just like, oh yeah, this is weird, but I know what I'm doing. Oh, sorry, Pooks. Yeah, so we've got this I-cord cast on, and then we've picked up and missed bits, so we've got these loopy loops. I have a theory already, even though I'm only on row 2. I think we're starting in the centre middle. I think at some point we're gonna join something into here and go the other way. So that is my theory. I may be wrong, but we shall see. Yeah, we did loops on the one last year, and I was convinced that we were going to sort of make more loops and join it together that way, like a chain link thing. And maybe that's what we're doing this time. But yeah, so it's very loopy. We've got both colours, so I've got the contrast colour and the main colour in there. It's going to be quite subtle, the colour differences with mine, until we get that sort of yellowy colour pop in there. But it's really lovely yarn to work with. Puka is wanting lots of attention at the moment, and I'm not complaining. So yeah, so I'm going to carry on for a little bit and get set up into what I think will be the first sort of patterny bit, and then I'm going to move around a bit. The sun has come out, and I could do with getting a bit of fresh air. So I think this might be it for day 1. I'm at the point where I'm at the second half of the first repeat. So these are sort of set up rows, and then it goes into a section that will repeat. So you've got these bits that cast on and cast off, and then this sort of chevron section here. I have to say I wasn't a fan of the cast on, cast offs. Cast off's not too bad, but casting on can be a bit of a pain. But I changed my needle. I changed to a Chowgu, and it's much easier now. And yeah, so we've got these little loopy things. I have read ahead in the pattern slightly, so I do know that these are going to be braided together, which is really weird because that's what I did with the loops on the oh gosh, what was last year's called? The Shawlography? Yeah, I braided the loops on that, and Stephen West commented on my little video that I put on Instagram saying that was such a cool idea. And now they're in this. So I'm not going to say that I've influenced the Mkal, but I'll leave you to make your own minds up about that one. So yeah, I think it's going to be a very similar thing where you just like pull them through. It's like doing a crochet chain. It's really cool. But I've got quite a bit to go before then. You've got to make, I think there's going to be like 22 loops, and so far I've got 4. So yeah, bit of a way to go. Sorry, that was a cow tail. You being fussy. So yeah, day 1 done. See what we get done tomorrow. It's the end of Friday. Basically all I've done today is knit on this. And I haven't got very far. I've done 3 repeats and that little bit. So I had that yesterday. So I guess it's quite far. It's over 100 stitches. So it looks bigger than it is. I'll spread it out when I've actually sort of finished this bit and show it to its full extent. But yeah, there's 5 of these little loopy sections. Yeah, love how the yarn is working up. There's quite a, again, I hate saying the word rustic with handspun because instantly that makes you think it's scratchy. It's not scratchy at all. It is very woolly. It's got like a bit of tooth to it. It's got texture to it. It's absolutely beautiful. It's a joy to knit with all these little colour pops. It's quite late. It's dark now, so these colours aren't very accurate. But at least you can see the stripes, which is great. The bit that is slowing me down completely is the cast on and cast offs. It's not even like the other rows are going any faster. I did just time myself and it basically takes me 10 minutes to do every single row. So yeah, every row is taking me about 10 minutes to do. Some are taking longer. Yeah, it's taking an hour and 20 minutes per repeat. And that was the last one I did, but I timed myself. I think some of these have taken longer, but yeah, I am loving it. I think it's one of those things. So this is one of the things with the mystery shawl, is that you don't know what you're going to be doing. And if I'd have seen this pattern and realised what I would be knitting this weekend, I wouldn't have chosen to knit it. However, it's going to be beautiful, and there are a couple of things that I've already learned. This cast on is a cable cast on, which is slightly different to a sort of knitted cast on that I would normally do, and actually it has a lot more structure. So I actually think this would be a better cast on for anything like underarm stitches on a sweater or something like that, because the cast on I normally use for that tends to stretch out quite a bit. This central double decrease I really like. The next mitered square blanket I start, I'm probably going to use this central double decrease rather than what I currently use. So I'm looking forward to giving that a try on a mitered square. So yeah, there is already lessons learned in this. I mean, that's just, it's so neat. It's very pretty. books, boop, and a jacks. So I've just finished doing the repeat section, and I'm at the point where I can't actually remember a time where I wasn't knitting this repeat section. It's taken the best part of 3 days and that's all my knitting time, pretty much all my crafting time. I've barely done any spinning either. I did make a cake. I needed some cake to see me through all this knitting. But yeah, I have finished the repeats. There's a little bit of finishing to do when I actually saw that when it says do all this repeats, and then I was like, brilliant, at least I get to do something different. It's like, no, I have to do a repeat again, but not a full repeat, because that's the bind off repeat. So it's another repeat minus 1 row, so that's something. I'm taking that. It is amazing. It's very cobwebby at the moment. Obviously these bits are going to be braided together. If I can, I'll pop in the video that I did with my shawlography last year, because it's the same technique that I did then. I've had a few people on Instagram go, didn't you do this last year? I was like, yep. No, we get inspiration from all over, so it's fab. It's also a technique that could be achieved a different way, and you wouldn't have to do all the cast on and cast offs, which I would have preferred to do. So another couple of hours worth of knitting, and I should have the first section finished. I would like to get it finished today because I want to work on other projects. The yarn, these are my first 2 cakes, full cakes. So if I get the other full cake, so that's the Colourpop colour. So they were all about the same size, and that's all I have left. Now I knew I was going to be short on yardage, but usually that's not a problem. But I think it might be this time. So I have ordered some more fibre, just 100 grams of each of the 2, the main and the contrast. So I'm probably going to spin that up, just so I've got a little bit of extra, just in case I need it. Stunning though, I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. I keep looking at it across the room from when I get breaks. When I take breaks from knitting on it, I keep looking at it across the room and just being like, oh, that's pretty. And it feels amazing. It's quite woolly, but the drape on it's absolutely lovely. And yeah, I'm looking forward to braiding these. I shall film that. And of course, Jax thinks I've just spent 3 days making him a blanket, which basically I have. Clue 1 done. Doesn't it look absolutely amazing? I mean, I've put some close-ups in, but it's really sort of geometric looking, but then it's got this beautiful texture with these areas were where we cast on and cast off, and then they were braided together. I think I mentioned earlier in the video that I actually did this with the shawl last year that had some like I-cord loops on it on one point, and I did this technique, this braiding them together technique on that. So this wasn't new to me, but I think it's used with these chevrons in such a beautiful way that the finished piece is amazing. Confession time. Knitting this was not my favourite. So every year with the mystery knit along, I kind of feel like it's sort of my knitter's end of year exam in a way. So there's always stuff that I've never done before, and it's sort of I have to concentrate and learn and things like that. And it does feel like in a way it sort of feels like a challenge to myself rather than a knit that I'm going to feel completely confident and comfortable throughout. So that this year I gave myself the additional challenge of spinning for it, because obviously spinning is a new part of my life too, so I was really excited to do that. But yeah, there are always parts that I find challenging, and this first part was definitely a challenge. I usually find that at the beginning of a technique I have to pay a lot of attention, and then as I get into the repeats I get faster, and I definitely did with this, but with the casting on and cast off that create these loops, that didn't seem to get faster, and a repeat was taking me at best about 40 minutes, at worst an hour and a half. It was technically 3 whole days worth of my crafting time to do this first clue, and yes, at times it did feel like a bit of a slog, but is it worth it? Have I learnt things? Definitely I've learnt things. One, I've learnt a new cast on method that I will be using again. I think it'd be brilliant for casting on underarms and garments rather than the casting on method I normally use, because that can go a bit loose. So yeah, this cable cast on method I will definitely be using again. The central double decrease on the chevrons, I'm going to put that into my next mitered square blanket, so that's definitely another technique I've already used. These braids, I've done these before. I actually did them on last year's shawl. If you remember the slip extravaganza, no, that was the year before. The shawlography last year had some I-cord loops. I'll put a video on. And I wasn't keen on those loops, so I actually braided them in this fashion, so it brought them together. So yeah, I have done this sort of loopy braid thing before. But that said, I think it's absolutely beautiful in this piece. The way it works with the texture and the chevrons, I think is just amazing. It did feel at times like I was knitting a massive cobweb made out of seaweed, but I'm just absolutely loving the finished piece. So yarn wise, I've used a lot of yarn. So this is my Colourpop colour. The sort of citron colour, and this is all I have left of my first ball of main colour and contrast colour. There is not a lot left of those. So I'm playing it safe, and I've ordered some more fluff from John Arbon. Just ordered another 100 grams of each of the 2 main colours. So there will be another little bit of spinning content in the next video, so that'll be fun. So yeah, I'm just going to spin up quickly another 100 grams of each of those, just to be on the safe side. I don't want to run out of yarn. So when I was doing the cast on for this, and it had these sort of loopy bits, I had a feeling that this was going to be like the centre of the shawl, and then next week we're going to do another loopy bit and have this like braided section in the middle. So that was my theory, and I'm fairly sure I was not correct on that theory. However, I would like to see something more happening on the sides, to make this a bit wider, because it's not going to go very far around as a shawl, although it is quite big. This must be one of the biggest clue ones we've done in a while. But yeah, I'll stop rambling on. Clue 1 is done. I love it now it's done, and I learnt a lot, but it wasn't my favourite knitting experience. I am looking forward to clue 2 coming out on Thursday. Today is Tuesday. So I've got a couple of days off where I can knit and craft whatever I want, and then I'll be back on with the Mkal. I really can't wait to put in some of this colour, just to get some colour pop going. So I'm hoping there's going to be this colour in colour 2. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see where we go next, whether we go to the sides or whether we go to the bottom. I'm assuming we'll do something with these. That's the back, by the way. I think the back's beautiful too. You silly cat. So let me know how you're all getting on with your Clue 1s. I know there's a few of you in the Discord group that are sharing pictures. I've put a thread up in the Discord group so that anybody who wants to avoid spoilers can. And if you would like to join that group, there will be links in the description down below. But yeah, let me know how you're getting on with your Mkal if you're joining in, or are you tempted to join in after seeing Clue 1? Because I think I would be. I think if I saw a picture of it, I'd be really tempted to jump in. It's so pretty. No regrets, absolutely love it, but can I have my weekend back? So yeah, I'll leave links down below as to where you can find me online, and there's also a link to our Discord group. Big shout out to our Discord group this week. You have been amazing. As I've been knitting away, you've been helping with my motivation all weekend, and you've also been sharing pictures of your Mkals, so that's great. I've been absolutely loving seeing your Mkals too. So if you would like to join our Discord, there will be a link below. But for now, happy knitting, and I will see you next week. Goodbye, my friends. Just smack Jax in the face.